I'm a former Marine, a retired cop, been a bodyguard for a lot of stars and corporate VIPs, and I also teach personal protection. And what we're going to do is start out with some simple techniques that are fast, easy to learn, and very effective for anybody, whether you're a 10th degree black belt or you're somebody who has no skill in martial arts at all. So we're going to be talking about working on striking the vital points of the body, setups, positioning, distance, and things of that sort. So John, pleasure working with John. John also tested last night for his 8th degree, is that correct? 7th degree and passed. My background is 44 years. I'm a Marine, served in Vietnam and was wounded twice there. Retired cop, was a police academy instructor, still teach police tactics all over the world. Bodyguard for Chuck Norris, Whitney Houston, The Temptations, some corporate executives. So the things that I teach has to be instinctive. They have to be quick, easy to learn, and in a situation where you might have to take out multiple opponents at the same time. But the best source of self-defense is also prevention. And in the field of personal protection, prevention is the first thing we teach. How to not put yourself in a situation that you have to defend yourself, like making yourself vulnerable, making yourself a victim, putting yourself out there in a critical or volatile situation. However, sometimes situations create, and then we have to engage physically. First thing we're going to talk about is John. John's a bigger man than me, and so forth. So if I was to encounter him either in law enforcement, bodyguarding, or just he approached me off the street, first of all, right now, John is bigger than me. I'm also inside his range where he could hit me and do damage to me. So the first thing we talk about is, one, distance. So I'm comfortable just outside my punching distance and his punching distance, where he'd have to make a step and move toward me in order for me to know that he wants to hit me. Second, you'll notice my position, I'm a little sideways. And the reason I'm a little sideways is my left knee is going to cover my groin in case he tries a snap kick here. This knee is covered. This hand right here is going to come across in case he tries to sucker punch me here. And I have this front hand down where I can lead off a technique. If I see him move, I fire to kind of stun him, and then I hit him with my power shot. So if we're just talking, my body positioning is kind of passive. Sometimes I kind of have this here, which means I'm ready to block in this area, and I'm ready to throw the first strike. Or sometimes up in here. So I'll lead off with the first strike, and I still cover. You don't know when you're talking to someone when they're going to make that first initial move. So what we covered so far is keep the distance, keep your positioning. I'm a little sideways. This hand is covering. This hand is ready to strike out. I'm in kicking range, and I'm also punching range from here. If he moves from here, I can either move back or I can move in. At least I have a little bit of time to make that decision. So what we covered so far is distance and body positioning to encounter. What I'm going to cover next, and I'll change position for you, John, is lead-off techniques. Basically, you're talking to someone, if somebody makes a move first, lead-off technique, a good lead-off technique for me would be like quick backhand. If I do a quick backhand, then you can follow up with a power shot. So if you're just out here and you're talking, all of a sudden they make a quick move, you can be right in there with that first hit. There's three things you want to do when you're in a situation. You want to hit first, you want to hit fast, and you want to be effective. You want to stun that person. You want to stop their train of thought of hurting you and recreate that train of thought as, hey, he just hurt me and he hit me. So that's why I'm saying, if you're in a passive posture, you're sitting here talking to someone like that, then they move, you're already in an offensive mindset, but they don't know it. Another thing you're trying to do is read their psychological makeup. What is their intent at this point? Are they intending to hurt me? Did they want to rob me? What do they want to do with me? Why are we having this conversation? If you're in law enforcement, you may have been called there to take care of the situation. This person could already be violent. So you have to analyze psychologically what's going on, how am I going to react, and so forth. But number one is your personal protection. Especially in law enforcement, my right side is my side where I carry my gun, so I always kept it to the rear. I always led with the left, and I would talk or I'd evaluate the situation out here. I never had my hands up because that's a universal signal to let's fight or get it on. So I'd act like I'm thinking, or I'd be up my nose, but I'm always ready for that first move to do that. So lead-off techniques, a back fist is easy. It can be thrown from down, or if I'm up here thinking, it can be hit. It's just a shot. If you want to use a bottom fist, You strike this mastoid area in the jaw pressure point. A lot of times you can just make a person wilt down with that triangular hit with the jaw, mastoid, and the jugular vein. So body fist is a nice hit to start off with. Then you have your power shots, and you can do any multiple set of combinations. What's important is you get the first hit, because when it gets the first hit, he wins the fight in a street fight. There's 5 different things that we teach, and it accumulates over a period of time in martial arts training. I started in the military, in the Marine Corps. We studied jiu-jitsu and all the other things to go into combat. So you start with the physical techniques. Mentally, you start getting developed to use those physical techniques and to memorize the sequence. They can't be complicated. They have to be simple. Just like in law enforcement and so forth. When you're in a situation, a firefight or a fight, your brain is moving at super speed. Sometimes things slow down in slow motion. The simplest and the quickest and easiest things that you've ever learned in your life are the most effective. That's why a good street fighter sometimes has 2 or 3 moves and they never get beat, because they have the mentality to hurt you, and that's all they think about. As martial artists, I've trained 44 years, have black belts in 6 different styles. I've learned thousands of techniques because I'm an instructor, and I like to relay that. But in my personal self-defense situations, in combat, also on the street, and in my line of duty, I usually rely on maybe 4 or 5 techniques, things that work every single time, that I know that those are my bread and butter techniques. And a good fighter, a boxer, a kickboxer. John is a jiu-jitsu guy now, as well as a sport karate guy. We had 4 or 5 great techniques that we knew it worked. The rest of it is the psychological makeup, the physical, the mental, and then the emotional. Can you withstand pain? If you're hurt in a street fight, or if you get cut with a knife, or if you're even shot in a situation, can you mentally or emotionally accept that and continue on to try to survive? So over a period of time in training, especially in military type of training, you develop the emotional. And that's why they put them through extreme training exercises and break them down mentally to see what kind of pain barrier that they can withhold and go through. So when your life is on the line, they'll still be able to react under fire and under pressure, just like what you hear now about Navy SEALs and Marines. I mean, that's what we went through, and that's how we train in martial arts. The last is your spiritual. It's about your spirit and your heart, and how much drive and motivation you have to succeed and to live to fight another day, that warrior mentality. So in my line of martial arts, and I've been with Chuck Norris for 32 years, but I've been in martial arts 44 years, starting in the Marine Corps, been in law enforcement, Taekwondo, went into professional kickboxing in the 70s and was rated in the top 10, and then in open tournaments. And I did traditional weapons, katas, learned the whole thing, and I've been with Chuck for 32 years. We met in 1978, but I officially went as one of his black belts in 1980. I used to be the training instructor for his organization. I'm still a member of his organization and still endorse. The Chunguk Do on the back is Chuck's system. It means universal way. It is a Korean term. He wanted that, but he has his own system. It used to be called Chuck Norris System. It used to be called UFAF, which is called United Fighting Arts Federation, but his system is Chunguk Do. What we've done is take the traditional Tong Sudo format and then Americanize it. We put judo, jiu-jitsu, kickboxing. We put all the best things out of all the different martial arts and put them into one complete system. So when I wear the Chunguk Do patch or the UFAF patch, which is here, this is the actual official Chuck Norris system. So I actually come down to Houston today to accept an award that for one of Chuck Norris's top fighters, which I was one of the many fighters he's turned out over the years by Black Belt Magazine back in the 90s. So he's turned out lots of them. I think maybe some of the other guys are here tonight. Okay, we're going back to the training. Lead-off techniques. The back fist, the bottom fist. A lot of times I'll throw my hand right at the person's face. I'm trying to disguise or block their vision a little bit. If I get lucky, I might poke the eyes, but generally the person will flinch back. When you do that, boom, you're right in there. Then I'm right into the power shot, which I like to throw this right cross. Now, when you're a police officer, you have to be careful about breaking people's jaws. So a lot of times I'll go to the smack or the chop on the side of the neck and not break somebody's jaw or bring blood, because that's when you get written up and get investigated. So it depends on, is this a street fight, or am I arresting somebody, or am I a bodyguard for somebody? You don't want the person to get sued because you busted somebody out. But you have to be prepared. Like I said, if I get the first move and I'm in here, see how he reacted? Every man reacts to a groin shot. You already said you got groin shot last night a lot. So, but a lead-off technique, one, I tell you, 1, 2, and right here. Once you're inside, you can work all kinds of combinations that everybody trains with. But the lead-off, the first 1, 2 is so essential. Bottom fist or back fist, I generally shoot for the neck right here. This area right here is very sensitive. The jaw pressure point here is a triangle. If you hit all 3 of those together, see how John almost wilted? You'll drop a man's legs right straight down. So, and you just don't hit it, you push it through really hard. So we got the back fist just to stun him, the bottom fist to take him out, or the eye gouge with the palm heel, then the drop with a groin kick, and then a punch. If I'm out here a little bit longer distance, a lot of times I can do like this, he'll flinch, then you'll step in with your full power behind it. So generally, just in these lead-off techniques, it's very simple. Back fist, bottom fist, eye gouge or palm heel, then all the snap kick. And when you hit, you got your takeout kicks with the thigh and so forth, where you can come in and do a judo sweep or do another power shot. What you're wanting to do, though, is eliminate, John, to the right hand, real quick. Good, real quick. So if my hands are down, I'm like this real quick. I'm in here, and I can work it, you know what I mean? I don't look like I'm on guard, but I'm ready. Shoot. All right. This is called a shoulder block cross. I've got a general area covered. He tries to sucker punch me. All right. I'm inside right here. Then I've got working it. You know what I mean? The main thing is don't get hit. Do not get hit. If he would hit me, I would go down. I got sucker punched by a big college football player once, and I was just giving the person directions. There was 3 of them. They were all gigantic guys. And I had my hands full with clothes. I was going to a laundromat. And I guess they just wanted to whip somebody that night. And I'm pointing down here where this place is, and I saw it coming, but it was too late for me to come up and block it. Broke my socket, my nose, but when I hit the ground, I did a perfect judo backfall, had my head up on the concrete. The first thing went through my mind, they're probably going to try to kill me or stomp me to death. And I kicked right back up on my feet. When I did, I couldn't see, so I put my hand over my eyes. They took off running. I said, if that's what you wanted, then why didn't you tell me? So it would be fair. So I chased them through the parking lot. They got in a car, and I remembered the license number. I was a cop at the time, but I was off duty. I did hunt them down, and we had a little party later on. And long story short, I arrested the one guy that hit me, the other 2 with conspiracy. We went to court. They were college football players, some of the best on the team. There was pressure on me to drop the charges so they could play on the team. And I said, well, I'll drop the charges if we'll go outside and fight now, one-on-one. They said, oh, no, we know who you are now. We don't want to fight you. When there was 3 of you on me, and I was smaller than I was now, yeah, it was all right, you know, in the middle of the night, sucker punch, jump in the car and take off running. But no, I'll drop the charges, but let's go out in the courtyard and fight. Oh, no. I said, I can't drop the charges until we go fight. Okay, you're not going to fight me, then apologize to the newspaper and everybody else that wrote this story that I got beat up, like, because I was a karate instructor in a comp, that I got beat up. I didn't get beat up. I got sucker punched from a blind side. And they were chicken and run after I got to my feet. So admit that you're a chicken. Admit that you won't fight me later. I'll drop the charges. And so I did. And those guys actually, the one that hit me, come to train with me later. And it was a really good start. And I forgave him. But they were just being punks that night. And I made myself vulnerable. I was walking to a car late at night. I think I was even off duty and had a car wreck and was going to a laundromat close to my karate school. So it can happen to anyone. So I've been down on my back, I've been hit, but you still have to be able to function. In Vietnam, I was wounded twice there. Combat, people surrounded, don't know if you're going to live or die. What your instincts teach you and through your training is, look, there's nobody here but you to help yourself out. So you learn to depend on yourself, you learn to depend on your training, your instincts, and you make that decision on what to do. So that was many, many years ago.